In 1968 and 1969, the San Francisco Bay Area was terrorized by one of the most notorious serial killers the world had ever known, the Zodiac Killer. This Zodiac Killer was officially connected to 5 murders and 2 attempted murders. Still, in the nearly 24 messages he had sent to the law enforcement and the public, he hinted he had killed at least 37 victims. On December 20th, 1968, David Faraday, 17, and Betty Lou Jensen, 16, went out for their first official date together. They promised Betty Lou's parents they would be back by 11:00 p.m. They never returned. Soon after the two left Betty Lou's house, their bodies were discovered on Lake Herman Road in a remote spot. Benicia police and others responded to the scene. The responding forces found the bodies on the side of the road. Betty Lou was shot 5 times in her back. David had 1 bullet wound in his head. Bullet holes were discovered in the car's roof and back window. The investigators believed the killer had fired warning shots to force the 2 teenagers out of the vehicle and immediately killed them. With the help of the shell casings discovered at the crime scene and the ballistic evidence, the police could identify the ammunition used as Winchester Western Super X copper-coated, fired from a .22 caliber, possibly a J.C. Higgins model semi-automatic pistol. The investigators could not find a suspect or a motive for the killings. At 12:40 p.m. on the night of July 4th, 1969, the Vallejo Police Department received the following phone call. "I want to report a murder. If you will go 1 mile east on Columbus Parkway, you will find kids in a brown car. They were shot with a 9mm Luger. I also killed those kids last year. Goodbye." Officers arriving at the scene learned that the caller was not joking. 22-year-old Darlene Farron was discovered shot multiple times and had passed away on arrival at the hospital. Her boyfriend, 19-year-old Michael Majo, was shot in the jaw, shoulder, and leg, but survived. Later, he managed to describe to the police what had happened. Around midnight, another car pulled into the lot where they had parked their vehicle. It had left and returned minutes later. The driver got out of his car, flared a flashlight, and shot several times in the vehicle Darlene and Michael were. No viable suspect was identified. On July 31st, 1969, 3 letters were sent to the Vallejo Times-Herald, the San Francisco Chronicle, and the San Francisco Examiner. In the letters, the writer claimed responsibility for the 2 shootings. He provided details about the victims, the weapons, the ammunition used, and the number of shots fired. Each letter contained a part of a cipher the writer claimed included his identity. The writer had threatened to kill again if the newspapers did not publish the cipher. On August 4th, 1969, a 3-page letter was sent to the Examiner. The letter was sent as a response to the police querying for more evidence to prove the writer was indeed the killer. It was the first time when he used the name Zodiac as his alias. "Dear editor, this is the Zodiac speaking," was how he started his letter. The Zodiac hit again on September 27th, 1969, in Lake Berryessa. Brian Hartnell and Cecilia Shepard, both college students, were relaxing along the shore of Lake Berryessa when a man wearing a hooded costume with a white crossed circle sign over the chest approached them. The man appeared holding a gun. He explained to them that he had escaped from prison and wanted to run to Mexico, but he needed money and a car. Then he restrained their wrists using pre-cut lengths of plastic clothesline. After, he stabbed Brian 6 times and Cecilia 10 times. He then proceeded to write a message for law enforcement. He drew a crossed circle on Brian's car door and wrote the dates and locations of the previous attacks, the date of the current attack with the hour 6:30, and the notation, by knife. At 7:40 p.m., he called the Napa Police Department and reported a double murder. He conducted the police to the crime scene, described Brian's car, and confessed, "I'm the one who did it." When emergency services arrived, both Brian and Cecilia were in critical condition, but alive. Cecilia died 2 days later from her wounds. 2 weeks later, on October 11th, 1969, the Zodiac claimed his last official victim. The victim was Paul Stein, a 29-year-old taxi driver in San Francisco. His last client was a fare headed for a destination in the Presidio Heights neighborhood. At Washington and Cherry Streets intersection, his passenger shot Stein in the head. The killer took a piece of Paul's shirt and walked away just before the police arrived. Because the police radio broadcast wrongfully described the suspect as a black man, the passing officers dismissed a white man resembling the accurate description. The police dismissed the case as a robbery. That changed when the San Francisco Chronicle received a letter from the Zodiac starting, "I am the murderer of the taxi driver." In the letter, he stated that the police sketch was not accurate because he had worn a disguise and left no fingerprints. Along with the letter, inside the envelope was also a blood-stained piece of the victim's shirt. Other cases have been questionably associated with the Zodiac Killer. The shooting and killing of Robert Domingo and his fiancée Linda Edwards on June 4th, 1963 in Santa Barbara. Cherie Josephine Bates, 18, in Riverside on October 30th, 1966. The autopsy revealed she was stabbed several times and her throat was slashed. Kathleen Johns, 22, in Modesto area on March 22nd, 1970. She was attacked on Highway 132 near Modesto by a man she later identified as the Zodiac from a police sketch. A Zodiac letter sent months later mentioned a rather interesting ride with a woman and her baby. Donna Lass, 25, in Lake Tahoe on September 6, 1970. She disappeared sometime around 1:50 a.m. after the last entry in her work logbook. Investigators suspected Donna was abducted and killed, but her body was never found. The letters, cards, and postcards from the Zodiac Killer continued to arrive at different press stations until July 8, 1974, when they suddenly stopped. Many theories were made around the mystery of the Zodiac Killer during the years. Some claimed that he was Unabomber Ted Kaczynski. Others claimed he was the convicted murderer Charles Manson. Some people believe he had moved to Scotland and continued to commit more murders there. Robert Graysmith, a true crime author and former San Francisco Chronicle cartoonist, wrote 2 separate works on the killer, naming in both of them Arthur Lee Allen, a school teacher institutionalized in 1975 for child molestation, as Zodiac. Allen died in 1992 and was never connected to any of the murders. In 2014, Gary Stewart published The Most Dangerous Animal of All. He claimed his father, Earl Van Best Jr., was the Zodiac. The reason behind this assumption was his strong resemblance with the police sketch of the killer. Louis Myers was another name brought to attention. A friend of the man claimed that before his passing in 2002, Myers confessed he was the Zodiac Killer. Although some events from Myers' life may have been connected to the Zodiac, no conclusive proof was ever found. In 2020, amateur code breakers solved the Zodiac Killer's cipher. The decoded message read, "I hope you are having lots of fun in trying to catch me. That wasn't me on the TV show, which brings up a point about me. I am not afraid of the gas chamber, because it will send me to paradise all the sooner, because I now have enough slaves to work for me, where everyone else has nothing when they reach paradise. So they are afraid of death. I am not afraid, because I know that my new life will be an easy one in paradise death." In October 2021, a team of 40 former law enforcement investigators called the Casebreakers claimed they had identified the Zodiac Killer as Gary Posted, who died in 2018. Still, he was not yet officially linked to the murders. The case remained open until now, and no official suspect was found, or a conviction was made.